Hey, it's Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and today I'm taking a look at Wizard Kittens card game from Magpie Games, which has been designed by Brendan G. Galloway, Marissa Kelly, Mark Diaz Truman, with art by so essentially a bunch of wizard kittens, if that's a thing, are in the library and have unleashed a series of curses into the library, and they need to use their magic abilities to get rid of the curses before Professor Whisper comes back, who I'm assuming is quite stern. This is Professor Whisper, so his or her reputation precedes them. So let's see what's in the box. I really like the way this box is put together. You have a plastic section for the larger cards, which consists of the game is from 2 to 4 players. I should mention that. So these are the 4 different kittens you can play as: Issa, Grumpkin, Bebe, okay, and Muffin. Muffin toppings, all that, all grain, low fat. Anyway, and you have chaos mode cards. I'll get into what those are. And then new rule cards. You have chapter cards, definitely need those. And these are the actual curses. So each curse is made up of different resources in order to eradicate them. Some even have ways to score additional points. This one says score 1 additional point for each familiar in your ritual circle at the end of the game. Would you look at that? And then if you can slide this part right off, this is how you, This is also clearly made for expansions, but which is fine. That's, we have Professor Whisper and Chaos Cat that I showed earlier. Let me pull all this down just a little bit. There we go. So as you can see, there's 4 little paw tokens here and space for 2 more. Imagine that. Pop these out. And then you have a deck of different resources: a familiar, an artifact, a scroll, a potion. So I think that's all of them. Yeah. And then you have the hidden objectives, which are called extra credit cards. So these are just different things you can work on to score. I had this one last time I played. Extra credit, add 3 points for each pair of artifact and scrolls left in your ritual circle. So those are like hidden objectives. They have just different types of chaos cats. So if you want to pick the one that knocked over some paint, so you have your options there. Clearly, people make this game like cats, and I can't fault them. I'm also a fan of cats. I'm going to shift all this down just a little bit again. There we go. Okay. And then you have the chapter markers that we'll get into in just a second. So this is a setup. It looks like it's for 2 players, but it really is for 3, because in a 2-player game, you don't use the chapter 3 cards. But in a 3 to 4 player game, chapter 3 is out. It just happens to be face down for the time being. And chapter 3 triggers when the Chaos Cat comes out. That way it triggers here for the place for the curses to come out, and then all the players, which would be more than 2, I just have it for 2 just for camera space and setup, would flip over their chapter 3 as well. So it looks like this is a 2-player setup, but 2-player mode would not use chapter 3, but just for spacing. This looks like a 2-player setup. However, I'm really setting it up as 2 players so I can fit everything in the frame, but you would not use chapter 3 for a 2-player game. But I just did 2 just for setup. So you start off and you take the component deck and you deal out 2 piles of 10, and the rest would sit there. And you take Professor Whisper and you would shuffle into one of the piles of 10. You would take a Chaos Cat, whichever you wanted. When they come out, they trigger chapter 3, which means you will flip this over and a curse could be here. And then players would have an additional slot to put the components. Try to get rid of the curses. It'll make sense in a moment. So you shuffle that up, and I believe the rest of the pile will go on top here. And then the pile, I can grab it, with Professor Whisper will go there. And that would sit there. So you would flip over 2 curses, one for chapter 1, one for chapter 2. And you see everybody else has their chapter 1 and chapter 2 stuff visible. You would also provide each player with an extra credit card. This is a hidden objective, so everybody would not see that, only you would see it. So this one just keeps coming up. Add 3 for each pair of artifact and potions. Add 1 point for each familiar in your ritual circle. These are your ritual circles where you're laying out the components. So both of these cards, most of them, affect the ritual circle because they're where you'll have cards remaining. I know the card's going to come out here and bump into that. So just for this sake, I'll just move the 3 over here. But normally you have chapter 1, chapter 2. So these will not be visible typically, but for this example, I'll just leave them up. On your turn, you would obviously take a look at what is here. So in order to defeat these curses, you have to have these components in the corresponding chapter. I need these 3 in chapter 2 because this is a chapter 2 component. Same for this person, same for this kitten here. So if I have these components, I can defeat this curse and get the requisite points. If you happen to have more cards than you need to defeat the curse, the order doesn't matter, you just have to have these 3. If you have more cards, each card takes away 1 point from the total value. So if you had like 7 cards out and you met everything here, so let's say, for example, you had 5 cards out and you met everything here, and the other two cards would take away points on this one, which would leave you with 3 points instead of 5. Also, the kittens themselves have a regular mode and an advanced mode. The advanced mode pretty much just removes one of the 4 and just sort of doubles down on something a little more powerful. I'll just keep it on advanced for right now, for the example. So let's say the person who last fed a kitty will go first, or you can pick somebody, whichever. So let's say I pull this out, I got a potion. As this player, I have to figure out where I want it to go. Now, I might want it to go chapter 2 because the musician's curse needs one here. Also, this needs one. So I'll make a decision. Maybe I want to go for the one that's worth 5. So I'll put that down in chapter 1. Then you can always cast 1 spell after you've drawn and placed in your ritual circle. So the powers I have are I can summon, I can draw an additional card, I can swat, I can discard 2 cards from my ritual circle, I can switch location of any 2 cards. The way I read the rules, my interpretation of the rules was that did not limit it to your ritual circle, meaning you could kind of just switch cards anywhere. Maybe it says any 2 cards. It didn't say in your ritual circle. So we kind of interpreted that as go nuts. And then because it's advanced, they have something called favor, which is to sling both a card from your ritual circle and the top card of the deck at another kitty. So when I mentioned completing the requirements for a curse and then losing points for every additional card that's not involved in the curse, slinging means taking something from your ritual circle and throwing it to another player. So you could do that with favor and take the top card of the deck. So if you see them working towards, you can see what they're working towards. So you can, if they're going to get it, maybe you might help them get it, but then you've given them an additional card, which might take away a point. So it might be worth 4 points instead of 5. You cannot use the same spell on consecutive turns. So because it's early on, I'm just going to summon, which means I can draw an additional card. And lo and behold, it's a scroll. So I'm 2/3 of the way to fulfilling that. That'll be my turn. Now it's Bebe's turn. So she draws a familiar, and the only spell up here with a familiar is the Permade Curse. So she probably put that there. And because it is fairly early on, I don't want to swat anything, so I don't have 2 cards to even do that with. Her special ability is Yoink. One gets discard a card from your ritual circle and take a card from any ritual circle and put it anywhere in your own. That is ill. I like that. So she's also going to summon and take a potion and place it there. And now we're back over to Issa. So let's take this. This is not exactly what I wanted, but oh, actually it is. I'm working towards this one. I guess I was just looking at this one, hoping maybe I'll get that. I'll put that there. I cannot do summon again because I just did it. I'm going to do a placebo switch. So let's see, I just did this. Or if I did this, or what have you, or this was here and I could do this. Those are some of the options I would have. So let's fast forward a little bit. Some more cards have come out, and now it's Baymay's turn again. Let's say she got the scroll. So now I have 2 scrolls, a potion, and a familiar. As I said, the order doesn't matter, just the fact that they're there. Make sure you can see this. So, order doesn't matter. So, and I also don't have any extraneous cards, so I will just take these, discard it, and then take the curse. And now I have 5 points on the board. And then a new curse will come out, and we repeat the same process. Oh, I didn't cast my spell, but that's fine. I guess I could have, drawn another card. One I can't even use. That's sort of how the game goes. So you are trying to meet the requirements of, you're trying to gain the components to get rid of the curses. Interesting thing about it though, the way the scoring works. Okay, overall, you're incentivized to try to finish the 6 curses before somebody flips over the Professor Whisper card. When the Whisper card comes out, it kind of changes everything. It's almost like you're getting caught. Players have more than 10 points and Professor Whisper comes out, they just lose. So you're really racing to get these finished and get the most for yourself for points, because if the Professor comes out, your extra credits don't mean anything, and you lose if you have too many points. The game goes on. You almost don't want to score points, which is weird, but if you already have 10 and the game just keeps going, like there's 4 cards left, and you're like, you want to just wrap it up. So the Professor won't come out, so you can get your points and your extra credit points to add to it. Like this one says, 1 point for each familiar in your circle. So if you had like 3 of these, that'd be 3 extra points. So it's very interesting that the rules work that way. Since there is no mechanic to take away points, it really is about just finishing the game, or even potentially helping someone else finish the game. If you're winning in points, you're almost incentivized to help someone else just clear out a curse if it helps you get to the end. If you think you have more, if you know you have more points anyway. You don't know what the hidden objective is, but if you assume like, hey, I'm ahead, let me sling something to them to have them complete a curse so we can get to the end of the game so I can score everything instead of either losing outright. And let me also mention some of the chaos mode. There are other ways to mix the game up. So you can also add these in the chaos mode, because normally when the chaos cat comes out of the deck, you take one of the new rules and you do it immediately. And you can also add some things to it as well. So you can make the pain worse for other people, or maybe make it better for yourself, what have you. So there's other ways of mixing it up. And that's essentially how Wizard Kittens card game plays. Things I definitely like about it. I like the art. I like the cards. I like the way they look. I like the flow of the game. You're making decisions on where to put things. It's, as I was playing it initially, it kind of gave me that, not that it's like Potion Explosion, because it's not quite like that, but just you're working on things, except that it's communal. Potion Explosion, you're just working on your own potions, whereas here you're trying to get the components together to resolve the curses in the center. So I definitely like the art. I like the card quality. Everything has a really nice look to it. The packaging is very, very well done. The way the box is laid out with the 6 slots, clearly there are expansions coming out, so the game was definitely clearly made for more content, and they had the foresight to have space in the original box, which is fine. That all makes sense. That is Wizard Kittens card game. There's no the, it's just Wizard Kittens card game. I don't know if the the was like a trademark thing, or we can't get the, so we can't have an article, so we just say card game. So that's gonna do it. Take care. Be blessed.